In this video, we're going to show you how to install the vehicle speed sensor on your Ford Focus, located in the bottom rear portion of the transmission. Now from underneath the vehicle, you can go ahead and locate the speed sensor. It's right behind the passenger side CV axle right here. It's held in place by 8mm bolt. We do want to go ahead and disconnect the electrical connector going to it, and there's a little pinch tab on the back side. So we're going to pinch and pull. Sometimes using a flathead screwdriver will assist us here. You don't want to pull on that connector on the harness up top. There it is. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove this here. Now before we remove the sensor, you want to pay attention, make sure you have a bucket underneath or some rags. You may lose some transmission fluid from this. You just want to be cautious and catch any of those fluids. You don't want that stuff dripping out on the ground. We're going to switch over to a stubby ratchet here just for clearance purposes. Remove that bolt and hold on to it. We're going to be reusing that. Here it is. And I'm just using the screwdriver to just gently wiggle it. I'm going to pry and wiggle at the same time, working this out. The sensor's probably been in there for a long time, so just gently work that out. Now these normally have a rubber O-ring on them, and that rubber O-ring can be stuck in there, causing this to bind. So a little bit of patience and some time. Just keep working at it. There it comes. You can see the transmission fluid dripping out now. You want to make sure that the surface here where the sensor is going to be going in is nice and clean. So just give it a wipe down, do a visual inspection, make sure that's okay. Now before we install the component, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of that transmission fluid and put it on the O-ring itself. And then we'll insert this into the transmission. Now sometimes you do need a little bit of extra leverage to go ahead and pop that in. I'm going to use a medium-sized pry bar. Go up between the motor mount and just try and give it a little bit of inward pressure on that while we're doing that. There it is. Once you get that O-ring seated in there, go ahead and line up that bracket, get that bolt started. I'm just going to run that in as far as I can by hand. It's pretty easy. And then let's go ahead and snug that down. Now once it bottoms out, just give it a tiny bit more. That's it. And then we can go ahead and get our connector installed. Line that up. Pull it down. You can feel it and hear it click into place. Now if you happen to have a code on your dash due to the sensor, go ahead and use a scan tool to properly clear that code. Go ahead and take some spray solvent. Clean up some of that residual transmission fluid that had leaked out. And let's go ahead and top off that transmission fluid. So now what you want to do is go ahead and start up the vehicle, and you want to let it run for a little bit. You don't want to drive it yet because we know the fluid is low, but let that transmission fluid get up to operating temperature. It could be 4 to 5 minutes for that to happen. And then we go ahead and check our fluid levels. So we're going to go ahead and pull this out. And we're going to give this a wipe. So what you're going to do is you want to note that there's 2 dots here. And with an operating warm temperature, you want to go ahead and pull this out, and the fluid should be inside that crosshatch area there. Now at this point here, we already checked it, and we are a little bit low. So we're going to use a clean funnel. And we're going to use the appropriate transmission fluid to go ahead and add some fluid. Go ahead and pull this out. And then, with it still warm, you're going to go ahead and check that fluid again. And you're going to check this a couple times. You don't want to overfill it, so add a little bit at a time. You're going to pull that out, and you want to go ahead and check that fluid. And it looks like our fluid is right at the top of our crosshatch, or at the top dot here. So it's perfect. At this point here, you can close everything up and then take the vehicle for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.